Okay, so I wanted to cover Gotham Knights at first when The Last of Us show ended, but after watching the already disastrous first episode, I decided screw it, I will just settle with The Mandalorian Season 3 instead. Episode 3 begins right after where the previous episode left off, with Bo-Katan saving Din for the second time from peril. Bo-Katan then probes Din on what he saw underneath the living waters, in which he says nothing and only believes that he was drowning due to his misstep. I am honestly not a fan of dumbing down Din, while at the same time padding out the story unnecessarily. I mean, what was the point of Bo-Katan not disclosing to Din the mythosaur that was lurking in the waters? I mean, sure, it will be expounded on later, but I see no reason why she had to keep it confidential for the time being. After Din bathes in the living waters to restore his status as a Mandalorian, which I find to be a very absurd plot point I may add, he takes some of the water in a container as evidence, and the team then proceeds to Bo-Katan's ship to return to her home. But in classic Star Wars fashion, on the way back, her ship is attacked by TIE fighters, and although she and Din managed to defeat the initial attack, little did they know that much more were lying in wait as they destroy Bo-Katan's home, forcing her to retreat with Din and Grogu to the Mandalorian Enclave, or her principles will inevitably clash with the old Mandalorian ways. This admittedly will prove to be the more interesting segment of the season so far, as I sincerely hope that Disney will at least attempt to dig deep between the clashes of the traditional versus modern culture. The highlight of this episode, however, is the previously an antagonist Dr. Pershing, who is currently under an amnesty program to return as a law-abiding, productive citizen of the New Republic, attempting to leave behind his past transgressions when he was working under Moff Gideon, or so it would seem. As he was living his regular day-to-day life, he increasingly becomes dissatisfied of his work, believing that his prior cloning research can make a difference under the New Republic. Further instigating this is Elia Kane, manipulating him to illegally resume his research. While I find this to be somewhat interesting, as Elia's motives remain a mystery, and how Dr. Pershing's research will eventually converge with the central plot, I do wish that they did not make this subplot far too easy to read, or absolutely predictable. In conclusion, Episode 3 is so far the best of what Season 3 has to offer. However, that is not saying much, and that my sentiments of the show as a whole still remains. I do hope that The Mandalorian attempts to deep dive on Star Wars lore and the universe, similarly to the likes of Andor, where we witness the life of regular citizens living their day-to-day, rather than quote-unquote special individuals who are destined to destroy the Empire, aka the bad guys. Despite Andor's poor viewership numbers, it is the only show that actually convinced me why the Empire should be feared, that goes beyond your stereotypical evil group tropes that we are all already exhausted in seeing. I was also intrigued that Andor tackled the inner workings and politics within the Empire's chain of command. These are characteristics of Andor that the Mandalorian needs to replicate in order to evolve, rather than simply being another run-on-the-mill Star Wars spin-off. Whether this will happen later on in the season remains to be seen. But personally, given Disney's track record of late, I do not believe they have neither the competency nor the interest to do so. What do you think of this third episode? Sound off in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe if you have not already, as there's more content to come. Have a great day.